Hey everybody, this is Ahmed mostly here once again with like a tutorial video to show you some controls, or I'm gonna try to specifically demonstrate all of the control options in Kid Icarus Uprising for the Nintendo 3DS. Really liking this game so far. I've been playing for 4 hours, and it's a typical Sakurai game with a lot of unlockables, fun stuff to do, lots of Easter eggs here and there, very witty and funny dialogue. So it is good stuff actually. I'm going to attempt to demo the controls from the options menu, options controls, because actually you're going to see here it's highly customizable and it shows you all your changes live. You could actually change the controls anytime you wish, from the solo play, or even when you're playing single player mode. Just pause the game and you get like a control options, but it won't be able to show you it live. You're gonna change it and then test it while you're playing. So here it's a more convenient option for us. So what we're gonna do is, as you can see here, the default controls of Kid Icarus is you're gonna move with the left stick here, which is the default pad, and then you're gonna change the camera or aim with your touchscreen controls. Basically, the touchscreen acts as a right stick or right analog stick when you're playing 3D action games for the consoles. So that's the unique theme of the controls. Basically, it is critically divided, and I can understand why, and I'm going to show you it right now actually while we're playing. So yeah, you can see here we could customize it any way we like. I'm gonna go move back to the default controls. These are the default controls here basically. See it here. There we go. So I'm gonna try it here, just to demo it in front of you. So yeah, like I said, the left stick moves around, okay? And you're gonna shoot with the L, which is this. And as you can see here, the right, or the touchscreen, we're gonna, by the way, we're gonna demo this in land mode, because air mode is really uncomplicated. It's pretty pre-rendered, acts like a rail shooter. So the camera is default, it stays in place. But what's tricky about the land mode, it works like an action game, but the camera controls are, in addition to aiming with your touchscreen, the camera controls are also attached to the touchscreen by, see, just tilting it quick. So yeah, there we go. See, aiming around. L is shooting, and if you press L and tilt the stick in the same time, you're gonna dodge, shoot, like what I'm doing here. It works with all. And you could actually, this is all shooting from afar. You could actually melee attack. So we're gonna go there. See? There we go. That's melee attacking. Very simple. And you could dodge around the enemy. So the trick is to position your camera while you're playing around. So yeah, you just keep tilting it around like that and keep the camera in place, and it's really tricky when it comes to the touchscreen. It's a high, steep learning curve, and it takes a while to get used to. You can see here with the default controls, you access your items from here. See the touch, or from the touchscreen actually. You could do this, or you could change up the items here manually from your control pad and use it by pressing down. And the up button also attacks. You'll see here for the X button goes into first person mode. It's pretty useless in my opinion when you're playing, unless there's an enemy far away in land mode, and that's really, so far I'm in chapter 5 going to chapter 6. I haven't encountered a lot of enemies that I have to aim from far away, so it is pretty useless. And these all attack as well. See, what's tricky about this here, there's a camera centering button, just in case you want to reset the camera. That's the R. But in this case, it's really hard to access with the default controls, because you're actually playing the game like this. See, You're just holding your 3DS with your left hand and aiming with your right. So you can't play like this because you're gonna keep doing like that, for example. So it's hard to access the R button to center your camera. So the functionality, the default functionality is pretty useless. However, a convenient thing to do is, if you want to see where is it? Yeah, align camera. So what I'm going to do is exchange it, since the attack is pretty useless here in the pad. So you see what I did there is exchange the align camera with the attack button. And I think that's really convenient if you want to play around with the default controls a bit. So if you really want that align camera functionality, you have it. See, you can easily access it with your thumb while you're playing with the default controls. So that's where it's really convenient. So you have access to everything pretty easily from the left side of the 3DS. So yeah, I guess that's it with the default controls. What I'm going to show you here as well this is the Reticle Camera. I'm going to focus on land battles like I said. Just going to show you an example how to modify your controls a bit. So yeah, you're going to see here that by default everything is set to the middle. And this all, so you can see this is stop quickly and stop slowly. So basically, if you put it to the extreme here, see, a simple flick of the stylus flips the camera 180 degrees or 360 really easily. But that's pretty hard to play with the slippery controls. So what you want to do is, in my personal opinion, actually, I like to put it a bit here, so it can stop quickly and I can easily fiddle around with the control. See, flick the stylus doesn't go as far. Goes like almost 90 degrees or almost 180. And you could actually manually modify your how fast and how slow the stylus responds to horizontal and vertical controls from these areas. These are the horizontals here. You can modify how fast and how slow you want it to respond to you. If you go really slow, see, it's really slow with the this is vertical. See, it's really slow. It barely responds to your movements. I don't like that type. I like to go in a pretty fast motion. See, it just goes quickly. Same thing with the vertical controls. They're both highly modifiable. So you don't modify the whole thing. You can modify the vertical controls separately from the horizontal controls, which is pretty cool. I like putting everything on a bit on the fast side, and I like putting this, see here, to stop quickly. That's my personal preference. You could also invert the controls. Invert the horizontal and invert vertical separately, as you can see here. See? So yeah, it gets inverted. Personally, even since this is not exactly right analog stick, I like to keep everything uninverted. Personally, it's really confusing, and it takes a while to get used to if you want it inverted. So yeah, that's basically it. I like doing that. Let me put it back to my personal controls here. So yeah, cool stuff. Let's go, look for something else. More controls, what's here? Oh yeah, these are just, basic things they want to do, like shot homing. It automatically homes the shot. And aim assist, which I'm turning off. I don't want to, make the game easier for me, and auto fire. Both of these things make it really easy to play if maybe you have a 7-year-old or a child playing the game and it's really hard for him to control, or him or her to control. So you could turn these things on if you want. I like to keep the guide arrow. This is the default. I like to keep the guide arrow on because sometimes the stages do get confusing, and it's like almost like a labyrinth. It resembles if you play the Subspace Emissary mode for Smash Brothers Brawl or Kirby's Superstar hunting mode. I forgot the name of the actual mode. Yeah, so it's lots of branching paths, and I'd like to know which are the branching paths. So if you keep the arrow on, it basically shows you where the basic destination you need to go to. So any deviations are obvious. So yeah, I'm gonna show you the lefty controls. You know, it's really. I'm glad they kept an option for lefties, but in my personal case, you know, it's really ironic. It's hard for me to explain, but I'll try to explain it here. I'm a lefty, okay, but I've been playing games for almost 25 years, so I'm used to having the dual left and right analog stick. So I'm used to having using my left hand to control the character. So yeah, with the left stick. So once it, yeah, it converted to lefty. So yeah, what it's going to do here is replace the stick with the face buttons. So I'm going to demonstrate it for you here. So this is it basically. Instead of shooting with the L, it shoots with the R. And you control your character with the face buttons here. So yeah, what I was saying was, it's ironic because I'm a lefty, okay? But at the same time, I'm used to controlling my character in console games in specific with the left analog stick. So when it converts to this, yeah, aiming for me becomes much easier in this situation. But I found it when I was playing, it's really hard for me to control the character. I'm not used to using my right hand to control the character. So yeah, it's a pretty ironic situation for me. And I'm wondering if other lefties out there have that same case. So yeah, it is a lefty control technically, but I'm used to using my left hand as a way to control the character. Here, I'm not really. It's sort of hard for me to, you know, even especially since the face buttons aren't as accurate as the control stick. So yeah, with the control stick, you used to flick in order to make the character dodge or rush. But here, you have to press the button twice, and it's kind of, you know, it's harder to do to dodge. You have to press the button twice, and it register it as a flick of the controller. So yeah, it's easier for me to aim in this control scheme, but as a lefty as well, I'm having difficulties controlling my character with my right hand, and it's harder also since there's no analog stick here, right? So yeah, that's it basically, just basic horizontal controls, and it's also as the default controls, it's hard to access. It's even harder to access the center camera option. So here you're stuck because you can't. There's no control pad here, so you can't make the reset camera more convenient for you, which is unfortunate. But what can you do? Another control scheme I didn't try is it almost, you know, eliminates the touchscreen functionality from your controls. Instead of moving your reticle with the touchscreen, you either use the control pad, which is kind of not convenient with the default controls, or the face button. So I'm going to do here, since did I pick left? Yeah. So let's show it to you here. I haven't tried this before, so bear with me here. Okay. Well, it is feasible, I could say, but not as pinpoint accurate as the touchscreen. You're gonna have, unless you modify the reticle functionality, make everything fast and, you know, modify it a bit, but it's still not as accurate as the touchscreen. I personally prefer the touchscreen, but if people find the touchscreen really difficult to control with, I think this, you know, to me, it sounds like a feasible option at least. It's, you know, it's not as good, but it's good enough. Yeah. So basically, see what I'm doing here is controlling the camera and my movements with face buttons acting as a right analog stick. But as I said, you know, the right analog stick doubles as a camera and a reticle, you know, camera and reticle functionality. So it is pretty finicky and sort of hard if you're, you know, using this control scheme, but it's feasible enough if you really hate the touchscreen controls. So yeah, that's it with everything basically. What I'm going to do here is finally demo everything with the circle pad. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Let's put it in. Let's hope it syncs easily. There we go. Did it work? I'm not really sure. Let's see. So with the Circle Pad Pro, there's no true dual stick functionality. As in other words, it won't give you the option to aim to move with the left stick and aim with the right stick. It will never give you that. So what it does here, it automatically detects when it says choose how to move pit. This is a good, actually the Circle Pad is also a nice alternate option for lefties out there. So what you're going to do is, if you pick the Circle Pad as a default to move pit, it's going to automatically detect it, and you're going to actually move pit with either of these. You want to move it with your left or move it with your right stick. That's the Circle Pad. And it does make camera centering more convenient, in a sense that you're going to see here, it has as a real control pad for the consoles, it has bumpers. So it's going to automatically put the shooting as your right bumper and the R as a centering camera option. So for lefties, it makes centering the camera really convenient. What did I do? No, I did something wrong. No, I want touchscreen. And it frees up your face buttons with, you could easily access your powers from here as well, if you don't want to access with the touchscreen. So yeah, this Circle Pad Pro is really convenient for lefties, easy access for your powers, and centering your camera. So let me just try it here. It's not really showing on the camera. Let's try going this way. Okay, it didn't detect the right stick yet. It didn't detect the Circle Pad Pro. Usually when you press the face button, it automatically detects it, but it doesn't really do so in my case. Maybe if I reset, or do this. There we go. Yeah, all you need to do is just go back to the home screen, so it's automatically detected. So yeah, anyway, this is how you control it now, basically. Obviously, if you're not using the stand, you're gonna have to hold your 3DS like this. I think the stand is pretty compatible with the Circle Pad Pro, but yeah, it is compatible. Not quite, but it is compatible enough. So let me zoom out here so you guys can see. Yeah, so that's the basic controls became. See, you're moving with your right Circle Pad, and shooting is to the right bumper, and centering your camera to the L. So everything, or sending your camera to the back is the L. So yeah, everything becomes really convenient for the user, or for the lefty. But as I said in my default lefty controls without the Circle Pad, personally, when I was playing the game, I'm a lefty, and it's still really hard for me to control the character with the right stick, with the right Circle Pad. So because I'm really used to console controls, as in I'm used to using my left thumb to control my character, not my right. So I found it really hard. I feel like bumping walls everywhere, and I just don't know what I was doing and where I was going. Yeah, aiming was much easier with this option, but at the same time, I really prefer doing this because I'm just used to doing this with the stick. I found another tip from a YouTube user out there, which makes even you're controlling Kid Icarus even really easier. Is you could just I can't remember his name, but I'll plug him in later. You could just don't use the stylus and use your thumb to control the pit, reticle, and the camera. So it's, for me, when I was using this for the last hour and a half of gameplay, I found it really easy, and much easier than using using the stylus. So yeah, it's like you're using. It's like you're actually using a right thumbstick. Even better, it's like using a mouse controls actually. So yeah, it's good stuff basically. I'm glad that Kid Icarus Uprising makes your controls basically fully customizable, since it is a sort of a hard game to control. Yeah, not a lot of people found positive opinions for Kid Icarus control, but I could see why. But in the same time, I gotta give Sakurai and his team props for making the controls highly customizable, and it is different, certainly different. You know, it is for a third-person action game. in this way. It's sort of, maybe, I don't know if I could say, arguably the most unique third-person action game I've played because of the controls. At the same time, though, it doesn't make it perfect, far from it. But at least he used the touchscreen innovatively, you know. Just I would find it sad if he went away with the touchscreen and used dual stick functionality. That basically defeats the purpose of the 3DS. So yeah, anyway, good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it, and if you have any questions or any inquiries about Kid Icarus, I'm still 4 hours in, so I'm still, you know, delving deep into the game. The hardest difficulty that I've been able to master is difficulty 6, which is pretty impressive. I didn't expect that could go in that fast. Let me just show you proof here. As you can see here, the first stage is extra spicy. They call it extra spicy difficulty. See? Yeah, that's the hardest difficulty I was able to beat. It gets tougher as you move on, obviously. But yeah, fun game. Nice light RPG elements to it. It has this, if I could describe it in one sentence, it's a combination of third-person action game with an on-rail shooter like Sin and Punishment, or you know, typical classic shooters like Radius and whatnot. So yeah, it's a mixture of both of these with the air and land battles. Again, I hope you found this video informative, and as I said before, hit me up with any questions you want. I could do more videos of Kid Icarus Uprising demonstrating its various functions. So catch you guys later, and keep playing.